Most butcher block tops fail before you ever even get them installed. They have poor support in areas like where the dishwasher's at, the cutouts are terrible, or they don't know how to seal it correctly. Today, I'm going to walk you through step by step how you install a pre-made butcher block top. Hey guys, welcome to Ultimate DIY, where you learn to be your own handyman. So today's video, we are going to focus on the butcher block top that's actually at the sink. The butcher block top that is over the range was done at a different time, but we are going to coat them all at the same time or treat them. So what we're going to start with is we are going to start over here where the dishwasher is, and I'll briefly show you how I put some blocks in here to actually support the top, because that's where a lot of guys mess up. These cabinets are already going to have little tie downs in them automatically, and so you just put screws there. But a lot of guys don't know how to do this, so we're going to do that really quick, and then we're going to roll into measuring, cutting out the top, doing it the correct way. There is a big secret here that'll save you a lot of money. And then we are going to go into treating, and I'm going to walk you through the different types of methods that you can actually treat this and make it last. There's a lot of misconceptions here. All right, guys, so let's get into it. We are going to put an acacia butcher block top on. Now, you can build your own or you can buy them. I chose to go ahead and buy them. It's not all that expensive and saves me a ton of time, so I can keep moving forward. But I will have a future video showing you how to build your own butcher block. So let's go ahead and unwrap it. It's brand new. Haven't even got the plastic off. Now I will tell you, don't drop this thing on your toes. It is extremely heavy, and you will lose toenails. All right. Now I'm going to slide it right up where I want. Before you end up sliding it all the way into place, you're probably going to have to cut any wedges off if you haven't already. By the way, not wedges, but shims, but they're made in a wedge shape. All right, so now that I have it up there, slide it up. Looks actually really good. All right, guys, so it's in place. Everything looks good. I have a slight little dip here. Does not really matter much because I'm going to have a big metal backsplash that sticks out, so it covers that easily. The overhang looks perfect here. These are 25 inches wide. This isn't 8 foot long, so I'm going to have to cut some off. I just have to decide how much of an overhang I want. Now remember, I will be walking through here to a pantry and there's a door, so I really don't want a very big overhang here. I'll probably go, we've got about an inch there. I'll probably go about an inch here as well. Now I could go a little bit more. I will have some wood coming around the door. I think an inch is good. And I like to use a good sheetrock T-square for this, just to be able to have my idea of where I'm going to put it. Now I will use a track saw, so the track saw is going to make a very good straight cut. I just need to make sure that I'm in the general vicinity. All right, so we have that in place right where it's going to be. Perfect. Hey guys, if you're a homeowner or a DIYer and you're fixing to start a plumbing project, I've made a free PDF that covers the 5 areas that most homeowners struggle with when they're doing plumbing. So be sure you go to the description, follow the link, and I'll get that to you as quick as possible. All right, so now that the end is actually marked and ready to be cut off, I can go ahead though and set my sink where I'm going to set it. Now I will tell you, when you buy your sink, watch, because there's generally going to be a big cardboard piece of paper in there that is going to be your template, or it's on the box itself. In my case, it happened to be the box itself, and the box ended up getting destroyed in transit. So I'm going to turn it upside down so that I know where I'm going to set it. And you have to remember, you not only have your inch overhang, you have your rails and stiles, your actual railing, which is going to be right here. So you have to be behind that all the way around. All right, guys, after playing with it for a few minutes, I went ahead and started over, flipped it upside down into its correct orientation, went and got a piece of what is going to be our backsplash material, which is going to be some R panel. It has about a 1-inch rib on each side here that sticks out, so I want to make sure it's going to fit. Now I've got my complete measurements from the rails. The outside of this rail to the outside of the back is 20 7/8, and I wrote it on the side. And from the outside of this rail under here to this one, I've got 41 inches total. You'll want to give yourself just a little bit of space there, maybe a 1/16 to an eighth. But remember, you don't have a whole lot of room here. So you don't want to get carried away, because you want to make sure it seals really good. You're going to be putting silicone around here and dropping this into place. All right, guys, I just took some construction board, taped a few pieces together, cut it out to the actual dimensions of my sink. Remember, mine will be on this railing, so it has to be to the outside of this rail all the way around, not the outside of the lip. If you do that, you're going to have an opening way too big, and it'll cause you a problem. So that's why I keep going over that, to make sure you don't. All right, so then what I have to do is find the center point, and I use a straight edge and kind of come up, find the end of my cabinets, make a little mark here, made one over here, and then split it in two, which mine turned out to be about 3 inches on each side. Make a mark. I had to go back about an extra, how much was it here? My total is about 1.5 inches back, because keep in mind, this front railing, you do have this indented part here outside of the rail, so the actual piece will be able to slide down inside. But I made a mark there for that and that. Double check the backs, made sure that I am square off the wall so my sink doesn't look catty, wampus and really bad. Put it down, and now we're simply just going to mark it. Now hold it nice and tight, just like that, all the way around. And I usually use a regular construction pencil, guys, but when you are doing something like this, these little fine points, when it comes to cabinetry, works a little better. And they have cabinet pencils. These are my normal pencils for rough carpentry, and it'll still work here, but I like to have a very sharp, exact line for this type of work. There we go. Looks good all the way around. So now everything is marked. We're going to take it loose, take it outside, put it on the sawhorses, and we are going to start cutting out our opening. So let's do that. All right, guys, we're outside. I actually have the butcher block top setting on top of foam. I like to cut on foam. It tends to work a little better for me, and it helps hold the pieces as I cut it. Keeps me from cutting up my sawhorses too. We are going to cut the end piece off first. That's just a quick straight cut. and then we're going to mark and cut out our center. So all I'm going to do is take my track saw, turn it, and put it in place just like this, right where I want it. Use the clamps. The clamps are going to slide from the bottom over. And actually, I'm going to need to bring everything this way just a little. All right, that way the clamp should pass it. And we're going to go just like this. Now the foam is going to stop me from going all the way back, but I'm just going to kind of lock it in to help it hold in place. A lot of times you don't even have to use clamps with these guys. They hold pretty straight. All right. Right there. This just kind of keeps it from wandering too much. There we go. It should work. I've already set the depth of my saw. You set it on the front. This is 1.5 inch material, so I go about 1/8 of an inch past that just to make sure that I clear. And now the saw is going to face this way on the track, and I usually start back here just a little. There we go, and start. All right, so we're going to cut out our opening. Now, I'm sure you cannot see that probably with all the glare and the wood colors, but it's going here all the way down and around. What I'll do is I'll take and I'll drill a hole, pilot hole, just like that. There we go. I can literally jigsaw this out, or we can plunge cut the majority, and we're going to probably go ahead and plunge cut. So what I like to do is take my track and line my track up so that it's on that line, and it helps keep me in a straight and narrow right there. And then we will plunge cut. All right, guys, there it is. That's the last one. All right, so we have it all cut out. So we're going to bring it around, and you have to be very gentle here because this piece is very thin, narrow. Don't want to snap it. Pull this one out. And now we are ready to take it inside and give it a test fit. Be gentle on that top down there. Fits perfectly. Everything came out fantastic. One little place I cut a little long here at the end, but that will be pretty easy. Just to put a little wood putty on and we're back in business. Everything looks great here. The trim piece looks good going all the way down so that when the actual cabinet goes from back here all the way across, it's going to close that hole in. The L looks great. And you can see now I have two mounting blocks, which I will be able to mount really quickly, and everything will look fantastic. If you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell. Matter of fact, ring that bell twice so you'll know about all of my upcoming videos as I release them. And as always, guys, I do appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next one.